your view of the world?
Well, now this is I want to tell you something. It's interesting you asked that question, because it probably was the disability that convinced me even more to go out and teach religion. Because when I because of my disability, I was able to see the goodness of people. Oh, sometimes there would be some rotten eggs. Few of them were not very nice, but the vast majority of the people I came in contact with over the years, especially from the kids on up, were nice to me, my friends, despite in spite of the disability. They were still nice to me. They went went out of their way, not because they felt sorry for me necessarily, but because they just wanted to be my friend. And it started in grade school. Kids would really volunteer. They wanted to read the lessons to me and everything, my classmates, and that went on through high school. And I think what kind of really clinched it for me was, and a lot of people don't know this, after I graduated from high school, I came to Chicago to get some extra training in using the white cane. Actually, up until that point, I didn't know how to use the white cane, because where I grew up on the farm, I had enough vision to get around. I actually rode a bike. And
so there are methods of using the cane?
Oh yeah, you have to. Oh yes. Oh yeah. There's a method. There's a way you use it. I came here to Chicago to learn that. All right. Well, I still had vision. Like I said, I didn't lose my vision permanently until I was 44 years old in 1984.
Okay.
Now, when I came to Chicago to this school, it was a training school. I was 18. And we learned, it was first time I left home for extended period of time, and I loved it because I learned independence. Well, after I learned how to use the white cane, I would come to a corner, and obviously we were taught how to cross a corner, how to cross a street, whether it's a stop sign or a light, and almost every time I went to cross the street, I would see sighted people either stop their vehicles, if it was not a busy street, obviously, or they'd be walking, they'd turn around, and come back to walk me across. Now, I would let them. I could cross. They didn't know I could see them stop their vehicles or turn around and come back. And I figured, you know what? They're going to the trouble to help me. Why should I spoil it for them? I'll wait and thank them and I would take their arm. That's the way you help a blind person, by letting them take your arm, and then you walk them. So it was. I saw bus drivers jump out of their buses, come cross the street, take me across, and get back on their buses again and continue on their way. I mean, and God permitted me to keep my vision on, to that, so that I could see that I could. There you saw the goodness of people,
right?
And so that really impressed me. I thought, why do we always look to the back, for the bad in people? That taught me to first look to the good, look to the good things about a person, and that's what I did, and that really played a very important part.
When someone gives you pity, do you resent it, Mr. D?
I'm sorry?
When someone is pitiful towards you, do you resent it?
Yeah, I don't like pity. I don't like it. You know, when I went to Greece to study, it's interesting. But of course, they, you know, in the 60s, I studied there from 61 to 66. The people were very vocal about their pity, about their, oh gee, how awful, how terrible it is for him not to be able to see. And they would, oh, you know, and when going to church, you know, it was automatic that I'd always get a seat, even though I wanted to stand, and on the buses and all. And I just, you know, but of course in Greece at that time, most blind people could only basically beg, you know, with a cup in their hand, and some did a little minor handwork, things like that. But it wasn't like the United States. You know, blind people have come a long way here, and hopefully in Greece it's the same way now. I don't know, but it did. But pity, it does bother me. Now here you don't get much of it.
Right.
USA, you don't see that. But like for example, Holy Apostles. When I came to Holy Apostles, they accepted me, but I also had to prove myself. I mean, they didn't hire me with the ideas, hey, you know what? No matter what you do, you can mess up, you can screw up, you know. You can, and we'll still keep you. No. I've said this before on Kid, and this is important. People who are disabled do not seek guarantees, but they do seek opportunities.
Right.
Not give me the opportunity to show what I could do. If I fail, at least I tried. Now, you know, and that's the most important thing. Give a disabled person the opportunity to show what he can do, or what he or she can do.
Got it. When you wake up in the morning, what types of things motivate you to start the day?
No, it's my work, my students, and I have to tell you something. One of the biggest joys of my whole week is when I'm standing by the south door to the building, and I hear the voices of the kids as they're getting out of the cars, you know, and coming to the door. I mean, it's looking forward to being able to teach my students. Now, preparing their lessons, yeah. If I had my way, I would teach it every day. If there was a class every day, if Adventure Theater met every day the way or any other, especially with kids, I would have no problem. It would mean more work, but it would be a work that I would enjoy. But I thank God for what I do have. But I would have to say that it's also, you know, there's a multitude of blessings. If you sit and think on Kid, the blessings that we have, for example, the computer, how that's changed the lives of so many people.
Right.
You can go on the internet, you can do research, you can find so much. Email. You realize now I don't have to ask somebody, oh, could you write me this letter? Could you read this letter to me? No. I mean, from OnKit wrote me a letter. No, you write me an email, I can read it by myself. And I can write the response by myself. It's been a blessing, a computer. Can you realize, you know, 50 years ago, still we're using typewriters. Yeah. Or even, you know what, 20 years ago, I got my first computer in 1984.
Wow.
So, you know, I mean, now we're talking 20, almost, it'll be 30 years in 2014 if I'm still, but still, before 1984 on Kid, I was using typewriter to do my work.
Wow.
But look at how it's changed the life of the sighted people. The radio, the television. We, at a flick of a switch, we can find out what's going on all over the world. You know,
right.
It's instantaneous. what's going on in different, all over the world. And for in some ways it's good, because if bad things are happening, the world finds out about it. Many times, enough protests, it stops. Whereas before radio, TV, telegraph, evil could be going on, and by the time you found out about it, well, sometimes years went by, and that. So I think that the multitude of blessings. Just look at the automobile, how we go from place to place so much quicker and easier. The airplane, the train. No, we live. Paul Harvey, a commentator that I respected, he's gone to be with the Lord now, but he died at 90 years old. But anyway, he was a commentator on the radio. He says, we're living in the best times right now. And I agree with him. Well, sure, there are problems, but there always were.
Right.
But you have to make with it what you can. I mean, we could use the internet to access pornography, but we could also use it to advance ourselves, to find out, to do research, etc. But listen, there was pornography during the Roman times too.
Right.
It wasn't as insidious. It's as accessible, but it was there. So you could take just about anything and look to the evil and look to the good. I mean, and use it for your little purpose. I mean, you could take a frying pan and crack somebody over the head with it,
Yeah.
as well as frying, pancakes or making pancakes. So, no, I think the motivation. There's so many reasons to get up in the morning and say, gee, what's on the news? Let's see what's going on. Listen to the news reports, and then I have my book that I read. It's recorded. We get recorded books. Any book, just about any book you want, but it's on tape, or like a digital. And look forward to doing that. And then there's just to be able to go outside and breathe in the air and the sunlight. Blind people appreciate the sunshine too. You can feel that on your skin, and you just feel better when it's sunny. So there's a lot of things that. Well,